Ultraman, here he comes from the sky. Ultraman, watch our hero fly.
Welcome back, my fellow Ultra Agents. It is I, Ultra Agent X7, your agent of your agent of Ultra Action, and the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. We're getting ready to close out the year here. We've got a whopping 5 days left to season 3. And it is Thursday, which means it is Live Action Review Thursday. Really need a better name for that. And we are going to review Ultraman episodes, what did I say here? 22 and 23. So the first one is called, this says Overthrow the Surface, but it seems like I saw it about terror under the earth or something like that. It's a good episode and has a great monster in it who is really just a monster and needed to be stopped. We start out here looking at smoggy old Tokyo, and Special Agent Anne Morin from the Paris branch, as she shows there, Paris 24, is visiting Japan. I like the little logo there. And then she and Hayata are going back to Paris for some kind of thing. Convention, maybe? Symposium? Who knows what the Science Patrol does. But everyone's jealous of Hayata because he gets to leave with a beautiful woman. But they shouldn't be. So before we get too much further into this episode, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and please watch a little longer than normal, whether on Spotify or YouTube. And there is a new special feature showing up, but I'll introduce that when it happens. Suddenly, everyone disappears. You can see that on their little shortwave or closed-circuit television, maybe. So they go over to the television station. That makes sense, right? Look at these gigantic... Some things haven't changed, too. Look at all the lights. Now, this episode original air date was December 11th, 1966. It was, of course, as you can see by the use of negative space here, directed by Akio Jisoji, written by Mamoru Sasaki, and Koichi Takano did the special effects photography. And Moheim was played by Annette Sonfers, and as you'll see, Franz Gruber, who was a regular gaijin in many Japanese movies, is also in this episode later on. Oh, also, what's his name? No, that's in the next one. So they're searching for Hayata. They go to space because they've used the extra engines. Can't find him. But they do find Anne, or do they? And here's our monster, Telsdon, who shows up right after that. So something's going on. He comes up from the earth, the bottom of the earth, shot at night, at least in the studio, and the eyes really light up nicely. Telsdon is a good-looking monster. There's Anne. You can't hardly see her. Maybe if I am big in it. There she is, a Telsdon right there. I like that shot. Tokyo is always empty at night for some reason. Here's a lovely combined shot. You don't see this a lot, where it just flies by. And more destruction. Telsdon's a fire-spitting monster. Obviously, this is actually superimposed rather than what they would do later on and have a fire hose coming out of a hose that shoots fire, that is. A flamethrower coming out of the monster's mouth, a la Yungari or Gamera. Nice destruction scenes. I just really like the composition here. And there's Anne, who they have captured Hayata. But this is not the real Anne. This is a subterranean Anne, who is possibly her doppelganger or was changed to look like her. She takes off her glasses. They have no eyes, the subterraneans. They want to conquer the surface world. They're going to use Telsdon, who is not named in this episode, and Ultraman. So they're going to brainwash Hayata because they know he's Ultraman. Somehow they already know it. There's more Franz Gruber. I want to say that's him right there, but off the top of my head. They've left Hayata's helmet on for some reason. Meanwhile, Telsdon is still wreaking havoc on the surface. Why would one of the problems, well, with their attitude is that they could have just come up to the surface and said, "Hey, we'd like to live on top of the planet again. Is there any place for us? Can we go somewhere?" And worked out something, but they didn't. They just attacked, which is just sad. They didn't have to do that, but we did get to see Telsdon and have a nifty fight scene. So here's the method they used to try to brainwash Hayata. See, and it's sepia toned, so you can tell they're underground. But once again, you've got Dark's really interesting photography. Soji's just a great. I mean, you can always tell his episodes almost immediately, no matter where he's working or what he's done. But using the beta capsule, Hayata becomes Ultraman, underground, and it's bright light because he's from the land of light, M78. Here's a look at this. It's the same one with that previous shot where she's reflected because it stunned them all. And I don't know if they died or he just left and sealed them up, but he has to go stop Telsdon. Lovely aerial view of the monster. I love shots like this where you see the miniatures all around him. He attacks. The fight scene here was really hard to get good shots of, so you're not going to see a lot of it. Apologize, but that's just how it is. Ultraman finally gives him the old heave ho, or the bums rush. It's not really a bums rush, but a bench press, really, and throws him down, and he dies. Or does he? Telsdon will show up later on, reincarnated. But that's it. He doesn't blow him up. No spacium beam. No particularly great. No effects from Ultraman. Just wrestling, and he leaves. Then everyone's happy to find Ultraman. They find Hayata back. They're like, "Oh, you're back." Then the real Anne shows up, and then they leave again for Paris. So there's a lot going on in here, but it's a pretty compact episode. It's local. I mean, it's just really well done, and the direction's excellent. And even though it's talky at the beginning, you can't take your eyes off of it because he's done it so well. He shot it so well. So highly recommended. Easily in the top 20 episodes. Easily. Probably top 15. And everyone waves goodbye. And it's Higgentoot. And Higgentoot rocks there. So that's our new feature. Every episode will have a new picture of Higgentoot. It might not always be a new one, but there will be one randomly placed in there. All right, now we're going to go to the next one. And I just wanted to use that picture. Our next episode is called The Earth is My Home, or My Home is Earth. I prefer The Earth is My Home because it makes more sense than My Home is Earth, just grammatically. This is a tragic episode, really. It's hard to watch because this is one where Ultraman has to stop the monster, for lack of a better word, because he's run amok and he wants revenge, and understandably. But it's sad. It's all sad. So there's your title. It takes place, I guess there's a UN in Japan. But it's really one of the better episodes. It's very dramatic. Pierre Poratsu. Let's see if this tells me anything about it. I don't think it's got even. Doesn't say why. But what happened is planes are getting destroyed. See, and Science Patrol is called in, of course, to find out what's going on. And there's our Pierre person, who is played by Alan Bilotz. They're probably a lot of them were Germans. So, and anyway, they're trying to figure out how to find this. They're trying to shoot it. There's a flying saucer. They've deduced there's a flying saucer. Some really cool effects here, and it's using the speed of motion or persistence of vision to fade out. It's invisible. So look at that. You can tell Jasoji directed this. All this extra space, but look at how well they're just. So they've figured out to use different forms of radiation, like or different forms of light, maybe to find the saucer. And there's how they're doing it. There's the saucer, which explodes. Jamila shows up. Okay, Jamila's an astronaut or an Earthling who got sent into space and was injured, and they sent him back this way. Now, the aliens probably thought they were helping him out. But they transformed him into a monster, and he's annoyed, and he blames the Earthlings as well, which you can understand. They didn't go get him because they couldn't. I mean, he must have been by himself. He can breathe fire. Once again, superimposed in there, and yeah, that doesn't have Scream. He's trisected nicely, and look at how well they're set up and lit. I wonder how long it took him to do these shows because they're just. I mean, everyone pitches in Japan, but and you know, just more and more. So now Captain Mura is telling him the story of Jamila, who went to space. They lost contact with him, and now he's back. Ito takes it really, really badly. Actually, feels bad for him, but he's on a rampage. He's destroying a town and the people run away. And then finally, somebody yells at him, Ito or Fuji, and he realizes what he's done. Does he feel sorry? Can't tell. You think now they probably could have had him cry a bit. Jamila did show up later on in the remake episode for Ultraman: The Ultimate Hero. They added a son into it because they had to add something. But that's a pretty good show. I mean, it's not exciting, but it looks decent. I like it enough. We'll watch it again someday. Maybe review it. And so back to the UN, and he's going to attack, but somehow they figured out that he's allergic to water now. So they do some seeding of clouds, which rains on him. Using the beta capsule, Hayata becomes Ultraman. Oh, there you go. Guess what's going to be the thumbnail? So he pretends like he's a modern day pro wrestler and does a dive, dive, dive. They have a nice fight, but Ultraman's really, he knows what's going on. And it's a good battle. I just like this shot. Finally, Ultraman uses the weapon we saw that he used to put out the fires in the ever so exciting episode 13, which kills him dead. I mean, he scrawls around. It's a horrible death scene because he just doesn't want to. He's in the mud and muck. He's knocked over all the flags, but he's dead. So nice funeral. I don't know how if he shrunk down to human size or what, but just love the way the shot is set up there. Subaraya it was a Catholic, which is why there's a lot of Christian iconography in here. But, it's a funeral from the 60s. Or 60s? Or was it? Look here. Jamila. A Jamila. As opposed to B Jamila or C Jamila. 1960 to 1993. So Ultraman is technically set in the 1993. And he's French, so he's probably Armand Jamila. But I can't sacrifice Didial pour ultimate for the progress of humanity's quest in scientific progress, or for scientific, probably something like that. My French, no, I'm not going to say it. I don't speak French. I mean, it's awful. I can say omelette du fromage, but that doesn't really come in handy right now. And so there's a final scene here. Ito is still, as you can see, that's his just looking at it. I don't recall why he's so bent out of shape. I should really, again, watch the episodes with subtitles. Probably would fill in a lot of the blanks, but these copies don't have them, so we're out of luck. And there's our final scene here. So another good episode. It's hard to watch because it's just like Ultraman has to do his duty to save people, which includes stopping a person who was turned into a monster against his own will. So, on that happy, happy note, you do get to see Higgentoot, and Until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off, really.
In a super jet he comes from a billion miles away, from a distant planet land. Comes our hero, Ultraman.